Hello, and welcome to the Holistic Living, Learning, and Loving podcast, where we are bringing you back to the basics.
We explore sustainable living and holistic health and strive for progress, not perfection.
So please join us on a wellness journey and feel empowered to make positive changes in your life. Hey guys, welcome back. We are so glad that you're joining us today. We are so happy that you guys are interested in what we have to say and come back. Or if you're just joining us for the first time, we hope you enjoy our message and our constant search for improvement in our lives and in our health. So thank you for joining. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube. Please subscribe so you see us in all our glory every Friday or sometimes Saturdays when, things like Halloween happen.
In life.
Not perfect. And I am not about to stress myself out too bad about the podcast. We are human. So today we are going to talk about a really cool subject. It's something that has been on my mind for a long time, but something that I really never went down the rabbit hole on yet, just probably because I just wasn't ready,
Yeah, because you can only consume so much at one time.
Yes. And it gets overwhelming if you're working on a million things at one time. Like you just have to focus on one thing. And once you get that ready, you move on to your next.
Yeah. You can only do so many changes before you lose your mind and just give up.
Yes, because it's so overwhelming whenever you just start talking about, well, it's this and this and this and this and this. It's like, oh my God.
Because it really is just a complete life transformation.
Yes. It's we're waking up. We've awoken to what's going down and we want you guys to wake up too. So today we're going to talk about EMFs, and I just had a major science lesson over here learning about okay, I got an EMF. It's what the cell phone puts out, whatever, but what is an EMF? So I'm going to give you guys a little lecture.
Yes,
an EMF is an electromagnetic field, meaning an electric charge of something that is also moving because it's magnetized. So the earth is magnetized in the center and is constantly moving. So we have that magnetic energy by just being on the earth, plus, and you can also create magnetic energy as well in other ways, plus the energy of just our energy. We have energy. I'm a human, you're a human. So the energy of whatever else there is, it can be as low as the earth spinning that energy, of that electromagnetic energy, or even ionizing radiation, thinking Chernobyl, nuclear explosion kind of energy,
Yeah.
So a lot of different things put these EMFs out, like I said, humans do. Visible light puts out EMFs, radio, sound, x-rays, the sun, microwaves.
EMFs.
Yes. Everything. I don't think there's anything you could say doesn't put out an EMF because it all has an energy, when you think about it. A bee, a four-leaf clover, a tree, they all have energy, so everything is putting out EMFs all the time. But, we think about bad EMFs like radiation, getting an x-ray every day and how that would really screw up our body, versus just constant daily kind of micro doses of EMFs, and what does that do?
Yeah. And then it's just, it depends on how high they are, right? In what is it?
Hertz.
Gigahertz?
Megahertz, gigahertz. It just, the scale goes from 0 to huge,
Right. Because the EMFs emitted from the sun are not harmful. They're natural. It's what our body, to an extent, right?
Yeah.
But it's natural. It's what our bodies recognize. But man-made, non-native is what they call it. Non-native EMFs are not recognizable. Our bodies do not recognize them. They're foreign.
Yeah. There's some forms that we know are bad, like x-rays. Back in the day, they used to have, it used to be a really fun thing. I don't know what year, maybe back in the early 20s to 50s. I don't know where. But they used to test how your shoes fit by giving you a little quick x-ray, but there was no protections. And they were just x-raying these kids oh, you want to do it again? Sure, Johnny, come on over,
I know. And before I really realized all of this, you bring your kids to the dentist and they want to do an x-ray every 6 months, it seems, or I don't know, they might be doing it every year, but I guess my kids are on different routines. So it was every time we were going, one of my kids was doing an x-ray, and I just didn't realize they're so just quick to do that You know, I feel like if you
Well,
thought my kid had a cavity or you've seen something concerning them, maybe, but just doing it with willy nilly is kind of scary.
it
Um,
really is. I just saw a dentist recently and they did, I think, 11 x-rays. And the whole time I was just like, why am I letting them do this? Why am I letting them do this? Oh my God,
yeah,
it was bad. I was just like, Heather, just let it go.
right. And it's really easy for us to just kind of dismiss it because radio frequency range is it's light that we cannot see.
Yeah.
EMFs is it's energy. We can't see energy, so it's just easy for us to dismiss it, act like it's not a
Yeah.
big deal. We're not.
Because you can't,
A
like,
lot
you
of us
can't, no, go
we're
ahead. I'm
not feeling
sorry.
it. No, it's okay. Like we're not
Yeah.
feeling it directly. Like we're not like, oh, I feel the EMS, although some people do. There are some people who are very, very sensitive and they even go to the extent of moving to these villages, and like in Nicaragua, they have one that this community they built for people where there's no Wi-Fi, none of that. And they have a special paint on the wall, special buildings, because these people get so sick.
Yeah.
Um, but it doesn't mean that it's not affecting those of us who don't feel it. I think it's
Hmm.
honestly the cause of a lot of my issues and people I know that are doing all of the right things,
Hmm.
but nothing seems to work. So, just to put it into perspective, 1 to 5 gigahertz is the radio frequency range of non native EMFs that we are dealing with today. And this is a quintillionth higher than the EMFs coming from space, which are the natural EMFs coming from the sun. So
Hmm.
that's how much higher they are. That's a lot. Um, and non-native EMFs include cell phones, cell towers, modems, routers, Bluetooth devices.
Dude,
Yeah.
like, so I was trying to really think about what do I really have that I need to worry about, right? The Wi-Fi router, okay. But then I started thinking about light bulbs.
Oh,
I got into the hue bulbs that you can change the color. That's one. And then also electronic blinds that go up and down. And that's Bluetooth device.
all of the smart home stuff
Yes.
is good.
Outdoor lighting,
Yeah.
all that stuff. The Ring doorbell,
The thermostat, yeah, the cameras,
the
like
smoke detectors.
this day and age, we have a lot of EMFs going around. And it
Yes.
really, like, once you start to think about it, it correlates with the rise in disease. As these things started to grow, the diseases started to grow, as well as other things, obviously. But they also say that EMF exposure increases your intolerance and your body's ability to heal when it comes to toxin exposure in general, like heavy metals
Yeah, it's like you're
and
burdening your system.
pesticides. Yeah, EMFs. They did a study on rats, and the rats
Yeah.
that were exposed to just lead, and then they had the rats that were exposed to lead and EMFs, and the ones that had both were suffering significantly more.
Yeah, it just
Um,
like intensifies your problem basically.
yeah, and you know what's crazy? I have this problem with my ears where they feel full all the time. This happened suddenly years ago. Okay, that was in 2019. Um, I've been to the ENT so many times. This is what that's what led to my nose job, actually, unintentionally. So they couldn't find anything wrong. I think I could have dug deeper. They ended up doing a balloon sinuplasty and all this
Oh
stuff
God, you
that,
did that?
yeah, I didn't
Did that
know. They
hurt?
just it was really crazy. They actually put some kind of something. I was awake, right? But it was they numbed me up and they gave me some kind of a adrenaline or something that made my heart just start beating, and that really freaked me out. He was like, "Your heart's gonna start beating." It was just like boom, 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 and I was
The
like
hell?
terrified. And then when I went to another ENT after that, he was like, "You didn't need that at all. That was not your problem."
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, but anyway, they I should have probably dug deeper, but I ended up dealing with my nose and everything. So I never got any answers. I'm pretty sure it has to do with my eustachian tube. I think that my clenching on my jaw and my ears is working together to cause this problem. And I could never figure out what it is. I can never get anything to stop it from happening. And this has been ever since 2019. And then the other day, as I'm researching EMFs, I was like, let me look up when we started to get 5G towers around here, because I remember that was happening around the same time. And sure enough, in 2019, that's when 5G towers went up around here.
Hmm.
So like what if that's the cause of it? And I mean, I looked up if radio frequencies could cause things like this. And it did, especially in cancer patients, that these problems like jaw clenching and the ear issue was a common thing.
Mm.
On a larger scale, of course, it was way worse for them, and that's way higher radiation. But it kind of correlates if you think about it.
I like saw some stuff in my research about people that said a little lower like sperm count, guys that wear their phone next to their,
Yeah.
junk. And then some people have reported that they've had bone density scans and that they've seen a really big decrease in bone density on the leg that the pocket of the cell phone pocket is in. So like this
Wow.
guy had it in his right pocket all the time, and he did a bone density scan, and that right leg, which was his dominant leg, so there was no reason why it really should be different, was way less dense than his other leg. And so I think it's causing interesting things to happen, not interesting in a good way, but
Yeah, and a lot of women will put their cell phone in their bra.
big telecom companies will tell you it's fine. Everybody wants to say, oh, it's fine. Oh, it's no big deal. If you go research articles about it, it's going to say that no significant research has concluded that it's that. It's like, okay, so you're saying like, it just hasn't been beaten to death at this point,
Yeah, really. So from what I was listening to on a podcast with the EMF guy, if you really want to dig deep into EMFs, you should go listen to him. But they were saying WHO, the World
Oh,
Health
yeah.
Organization, or the EPA, one of them were really for this was back in the 2000s, the early 2000s, I believe. They were really for like, hey, we need to look into this and do research and make sure it's safe. And as studies were done and they were starting to realize that it's not safe, it was dismissed. They were like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we don't think it's that bad, basically. And ever since, like, there's been no funding. There's no funding for the research, really. And there's no innovation, because there's no, like, these companies, they could do things to create better, safer
Mm.
devices. There's a lot that they could do. But there's no innovation because there's no research to back it or demand from the market.
Yeah. I mean, I was just listening to a podcast today, and he was saying, what if they were able, because, we can play inside of this electromagnetic spectrum and do things with it. But if they could find a way to transmit this information in a way that also actually benefited us, because,
Yeah.
we've talked about frequencies and
And
vibration and
harmonizing.
sound and how they can be good for our bodies. So this is no
Yeah.
different. And I'm sure someone somewhere will one day figure that out. That'd be awesome.
They
But then it's
probably
like,
could.
yeah, I mean, why couldn't you? If you use your resources for that kind of stuff, then there's brilliant people in the world. But as long as we use that to just make profits bigger and not care about the product, I guess,
Yeah.
then it's hard to make change.
Yeah.
Status quo and all that stuff. You get so far down a path.
And let me correct myself, because I said there's no research. There is a lot of research, just not mainstream
Yeah.
accepted research.
Like lots and lots and lots, like we said, beat a dead horse about it. But like
Yeah.
I kind of stopped you on talking about devices that have it. So other ones that we thought of, when we were thinking about this exercise of what do we have is, even power lines,
Yeah.
headphones,
Your
Bluetooth headphones,
your
windshield wipers.
no, your electricity for your house, the
Oh, the
what do
oh,
you
what is
call
that
it?
called? It's not a thermostat.
It's on the side of your house
Meter. The
outside.
meter.
Your power meter, and a lot of us have the smart ones now. And those, I heard the other day, don't put your bed next to a wall that's shared with the power meter
Oh
or the
my
electric
gosh.
meter. And
I
that's where my
never thought
son's
about
bed
that.
is. And
Oh
I'm like,
God.
I told him, I was like, Billy, we're gonna have to move your bed. It's another change, and
I know.
yeah,
Headphone. I was really big into AirPods for a very long time. I mean,
yeah,
I had the watch, I had the AirPods. I would charge both of them. I would only use one at a time. That way, when one ran out, I would pop the other one right back in and do the cycle. I would probably change them out like 3 times a day, all day long.
yeah,
Just right next to my brain. Appliances. All of the appliances now have Wi-Fi. My washer and dryer have it. It like, and I've had people with stoves that have it, just refrigerators, everything.
thermostats.
Yes.
I don't have a very smart home, so I don't know of all the things, but I have a
There's so
thermostat that's like,
many. The
yeah,
security monitoring systems,
yeah, I
those
have
ones, like
those
all those
ring.
little pieces that are on our
Yeah,
windows and whatever. It's just like, man, when you really start thinking about it, you've gotten so far down this smart home system. that you're home smart, but you're stupid.
Yeah, and see, we don't realize how much it's affecting us. Like I said to you the other day, I think I even said it on the podcast, that Nick said when we go to the cabin, he starts to feel a lot better out there. He actually
Hmm.
feels like he's putting on weight out there, and he at first he thought it was the water, which I was like, I don't think so. And then it hit me. I was like, I think it's probably the EMS, because I remembered you saying that the internet wasn't as
It's radio
good.
frequency internet.
Yeah, is that like satellite?
It's like a radio, like a kind. I think it looks. I've never really looked at it, but I think it almost looks like a satellite.
Star is it Starlink? Is
No,
that
no, no, no. It's
oh
like it's horrible.
oh well
The bare minimum. It's like just a little upgrade from the old AOL router or
yeah, like
modem or whatever.
I remembered you saying it wasn't good, so I was probably that's probably why he feels better. And Nick is sensitive. He can feel if he's close to the microwave, he's like, I feel it, you know. So I'm pretty sure that is a huge contributing factor to his issues.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So just like our body reads artificial blue light negatively, like it doesn't recognize it and it's harmful, it causes inflammation and disrupts our body's circadian rhythm and all of those things. EMFs are our body reacts to non-native EMFs very much the same. So
Hmm.
that's basically why it's causing the issues, right? I mean, it's absorbed by our skin, our eyes, everything,
Hmm.
just
Yeah,
like
it's
the
like
light.
energy that's like penetrating our body down to our cellular level or responding to that energy.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's altering the voltage of our mitochondria. And that's when you start, that's pretty much everything that causes bad health today. That's why. It's all goes down to that is the very root cause of it all. Of
The
pesticides, of
mitochondria.
heavy metals is mitochondrial dysfunction.
Yeah.
Once you start messing with that, that is like the foundational level of your cell, your
Of your
energy,
life.
everything. Yeah. So if you're disrupting that, you're gonna that's gonna cause everything. You know, whatever is
Yes.
going wrong with you, that's usually going to be the root cause of it. But
Hmm.
it's causing more oxidative stress for the same unit of energy production. Overall, our energy levels go down, and our cells take weeks to recover from this stress. Up to 3 to 4 weeks for our cells to adapt to these changes. But our electrical environment is always changing by the second, so our bodies are never able to adapt to it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like you're constantly putting EMFs on your body from all these sources all over the place, just everywhere you go, and then sleeping next to your phone at night and having just so many, like, whenever you really think about it, think about all the things you'll realize, and
Oh
things you
yeah.
don't even know that you'll find out later, um, and all this like stuff is just like damaging your cells inside your body and just like rapidly, or maybe not so rapidly, maybe it's just, I mean, I think it's pretty rapid because we've only had
Yeah.
like cellular technology for so long. We didn't
Yeah.
have
I
this
agree.
whenever you and I were like really young, so
Yeah.
it's already, I feel like it's showing us that there's a problem here.
And like the power of it has gotten so much stronger and worse with 5G. Like it's bad at 4G and everything below it, but I think 5G took it to a whole new level that really kind of like made things take off faster and worse. But
Well, I like researched into that, and what they were saying is that like a cell phone is so much worse than a 5G tower. There's a stronger signal from your cell phone. So you need so many 5G towers because the energy doesn't penetrate buildings that well. That's why you also need Wi-Fi extenders in different parts
yeah.
of your house because it's not penetrating through the walls. So 5G is actually not as bad as a cell phone. Cell phones have way more capability to accept signals than your 5G appliances, but it's that there's so many 5G appliances and so many 5G towers everywhere that it's just this cumulative effect of just all
Right.
these bad things.
Yeah. I mean, they're all bad. Um,
And then you have three routers. I have three different Wi-Fi sources in my house because we need it all to like it all work. It's just you need one for everything. So we talked about the cells in your body being damaged. It could be so many other things too.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I think it just shows up in different
just
ways in so many
everything.
people, and I don't think they can really know what it's causing. I mean, it could be neurological, but it could be anything.
It's just
Because
causing all kinds of issues
when
from
you
neurological to like bone density to fertility.
Yeah, it's just however your body is going to take that inflammation and that disruption and those mixed signals, and then your DNA plays a part. Like your DNA is programmed or set up to react certain ways to disease, right? That's why certain families tend to get the same diseases. But
Mm-hmm.
when anytime you're messing at the cellular level, disrupting at the cellular level, that can just end up being anything, any
Yeah.
kind of disease.
Yeah.
So they also have indications that EMFs can inhibit the body's ability to uptake vitamin D from the sun, which is could also maybe explain why so many of us are so vitamin D deficient. I mean,
Yeah.
also we're not going out in the sun. Most people are not going out in the sun nearly enough, or letting their eyes absorb it and everything. But then you add that not going outside enough, plus the EMFs robbing you of your uptake of vitamin D, and then it's just like you're severely deficient, even more than
Yeah.
you would have been from just not going outside.
I've even heard of some people saying that it could affect your like magnesium and stuff, like all these
Yeah,
like nutrients that we need for our bodies to work properly. It just screws all that up. It's
yeah, your
like,
mineral uptake and
yes, like all that stuff is
yeah,
like so deeply, whenever in molecular biology, which was one of my favorite classes in college, but whenever we like learned about that, like the ion channels and how this calcium goes and makes that ion channel open
yeah,
and do this next thing, those things are all inextricably linked together,
yeah. That's
and they all
exactly
have
what I
to
was
work
thinking of.
properly, or else you're going to have dysfunction, inflammation, progressive diseases. It just keeps going until it's deadly.
Yeah, yeah, the whole calcium ion transport thing.
Yes.
I remember learning about that too, and I remember reading when in my EMF research that it messes up that whole
Like
transport
ion.
system, or
Yeah.
the whatever it is. So it's just messing us up at the cellular level in every which way, really confusing our bodies. We are confusing and disrupting our bodies' normal cycles in every direction, from
Possible way.
food, from our way of life, from EMFs, so just everything.
Yes. And then also another thing is we talked about oxidative stress. And what that means is free radicals, basically. And what the
Yeah.
hell is a free radical? It's these free oxygens, and they want to be like a full molecule. They don't want to just be like these one-off pieces that are missing its match, inside your body, these molecules. I don't want to go into it. No, can't. But so they just cause inflammation because your body doesn't know what to do with them. It's
Yeah.
just like constantly trying and it's not happening. They're trying to
Yeah.
make fetch happen.
We have so many. It's like our body's overwhelmed with that.
So one other thing I wanted to mention is, and we kind of skirted around before, but if you're already struggling with an issue, then this is just going to magnify it, right? So people that
Yeah.
have mold sensitivities or live in houses with mold, if you mix mold and EMFs, it's way worse, So it just like causes a ripple down effect of your whole body. But another thing that it really causes is it messes with your quality of sleep. So EMFs have been shown to disrupt sleep. They cause an increase in higher frequency beta and gamma waves that are associated with lighter sleep, and they decrease your delta waves, which are associated with your deep sleep. So it's messing with the way you're sleeping. You're just not sleeping as good. You're not getting deep restorative sleep because of these EMFs that are just energy influencing your body all night. It's just not causing it to flow right.
Yeah, that's something I've been trying to work on because I've been struggling to sleep. I'm not getting deep sleep at all, and I'm doing everything. I'm doing all of the things. I'm wearing my red blue light blocking glasses at night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping the house dark. I'm mitigating all of the lights. I go out for the sunrise every morning. I go out. I ground with my bare feet on the ground. I don't eat after a certain time.
You eat really
Um,
clean
I could
foods.
probably do, yeah, very clean foods. I could probably do better on my sugar intake, which I'm trying to work on. But
Nobody's
and
perfect.
I started to unplug my Wi-Fi router every night, and I don't charge. I was charging my phone right next to my head every single night, and apparently it's worse when your phone's on charge. Um,
Even
but I
if you're
was
on
putting on,
airplane mode.
yeah, I was putting it on airplane mode. I forgot I was doing that,
I think
but
that's like not perfect, but it's better.
yeah. But now I put it in the bathroom, which is a good. They say the further it is from you, it's significantly better.
You should look into making a Faraday cage around your
Yeah,
bed.
Nick's been wanting to do that, but we have plans where our dream is obviously to get land. And I've been doing a lot of research about how to build a house that would have everything wired in. But we'll
Yeah.
get to that because that's part of mitigation.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah, I think it's definitely affecting my sleep.
that's so crazy. I mean, I never really thought about it, but now that I've learned more, it's interesting and I would like to explore that further. Maybe
Yeah.
my little outdoor meditation tent will be a Faraday cage.
Yeah, that would be cool because I would guarantee that EMFs are going to affect your meditation and your ability to connect with,
Yes.
you
It's
know,
all energy.
anything like spiritual or anything like that. I would think EMFs could disrupt that.
Yeah, I've read stuff about that.
Yeah, kind of makes sense, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, so recently I was listening to a podcast, probably was the same one I mentioned earlier, where they said there's new research out that suggests that non-native EMFs should be reclassified as a class 1 carcinogen, which is in the same class as asbestos and tobacco, because it's not a question of if it will cause disease or cancer, it will cause disease and
Yeah, it's
cancer.
when it's going to do that.
Yeah,
It's
like
so
it's almost
crazy.
guaranteed.
Yeah, and they were saying that cell phones are going to be our like generation cigarettes that like they like listen, it's fine. Like we've had this technology a short period of time. We like didn't really know and it made life so much easier in so many ways, but we've got to like say okay, listen, like we do know and now we need to do better because trying to ignore it and then the constant brainwashing by telecommunications that it's fine, it's nothing to worry about, it just doesn't even make sense. Let's just acknowledge what we did and how we can make it better, you know? But
Yeah,
they're like telecommunications spends a lot of money to keep us um,
in the dark.
ignorant about this
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just say it's fine, don't worry about it. You know, like why are you about like don't even worry about it.
yeah. Because they're making a ton of money right now.
They're
I mean,
making
they
so
don't
much money.
they don't want to have to go out of their way to do more new research and completely redesign the way they make things and do things. It's easy for them right now. It probably would increase costs for them for in some ways and make things more difficult. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it's like they have to care. It's still affecting them too,
I
them
know
and
it's
their
like they're
kids and their
not
families.
exactly. So you think
So
that they would know, but it's just so you know, telecommunications is a huge, huge sector. Huge. It's not as big as big pharma, but it's really close. So I was doing some research on it. And just to give you a perspective, because like a lot of people think, oh, well, maybe they don't have that much influence, but they do.
oh,
So
of course,
for
yeah.
this presidential campaign, they donated $135 million to both of the campaigns this year. And in health industry was $186 million. So it's less than the health industry, but $135 million is a lot of money that
Oh
they're
yeah,
funneling into politics to stay in power, stay, in control of their own industry because no one
definitely.
is really overseeing that industry that's not affiliated with the industry itself.
Right, and that's the problem with everything. The people
Hmm.
that are overseeing it or regulating it are being paid by that industry or work for them. They're self-regulating.
Hmm.
It makes no sense, and it's just time for a change, like a serious change in the way we do things and
And
regulate.
it also is just like with food. It's FDA's stance is like it's innocent until proven guilty, and that's not the way it should be. Things should be in this industry when we're talking about human lives and health, especially with how our health trends have been going in this country, in
Yeah.
every country. Like it should just be different. It shouldn't be like that.
Well, they're constantly just putting stuff out there without doing proper testing and studies on it. They just throw it out there, whether it's
Yeah,
vaccines or
kids'
technology, cell
toys,
phones. Yeah, everything is just like
materials.
let's just throw it out there and see what happens. Like,
Yeah.
why are we doing this? But this should be tested and studied before we just introduce it to the masses.
Yeah, and then what happens is they release this stuff out and they want to say it's fine, everything's fine. But then when it comes time to just accept that that's not true, we have a problem with pulling that back and doing the right
Yeah.
thing. You know, it's like, no, 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 we haven't done enough studies, you know.
Yeah, it's because
It's always an excuse.
they already become so powerful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We've allowed them to gain all that power, and it's hard to
Take
come
it back.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can give away your power really quickly, but it's really hard to take it back.
That is a very good statement. Very true.
It's easy to give it up. And that's what we've done because it makes our life easier. And there must be a way to wake up and realize that we're being brainwashed by multi-million corporations that are ruling this stuff. And how can we utilize what we need to make life better in those ways that we need it, but then try to be healthier and mitigate for our
Yeah.
usage?
I think when we talk about a lot of these things, I think people's initial reaction is probably, because this is probably mine too, is, oh, well, I just have to give up everything and go live like a caveman in the woods, which, yeah, sure, that would be like ideal. But
That's what you want. That's what she wants.
yeah, I do want that. But obviously I still do want internet, you know, because ideally I would like to make money through the internet and, you know, and communication. Like we don't have to give up all of our modern ways. We just need innovation towards more safety. The people need to stand up, educate themselves, understand that we've been lied to, or we, you know, didn't understand. We know better now. We need to do better. And we need to vote with our dollars, push these industries to innovate and do something better, something safer. If we don't stand up, they will never change. Nothing will change.
Yeah.
But there are things we can do in the meantime to make
Yeah,
things
because
better for ourselves.
I mean, and a big way is just stop buying all the smart home stuff because we're just fueling that sector, and we just don't need all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Our house does not need that to sustain itself.
It's so easy to convince yourself that you need all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, so we're millennials. Not that long ago, we were living just fine without any of this stuff, without any of it.
I had a beeper. You know,
Yeah.
and I was ecstatic about that, you know.
I remember that beeper.
I had so many.
Yeah, but it is convenient. It's nice. We like it. But at what cost? You need to understand and educate yourself on the cost because, like I said, they are starting to say that it needs to be considered a class 1 carcinogen, that it's going to cause disease and dysfunction within you. That's not worth it. Health is everything. There's nothing more valuable than health, no amount of money in the world or anything.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And certainly not for a washing machine and dryer that tell you when they're finished with the cycle.
Right. I mean, when we think about it, it's just silly, you know?
Yes. It makes me ashamed to think of the things. I'm like, my electric blinds, like, shut up.
I know. We all have these things, though, you know, just somehow we've gotten here. But hey, we know better, we do better.
That's right. So, I mean, I had started charging my phone. I keep it on airplane mode, and I've been diligent because I got Mike to start doing it too. So we have that, but I know there's so much more than just that. And I turned off I got like a Wi-Fi. It's a plug-in and it has a little remote, and I can turn it on and off from the plug.
I have to actually unplug it. So that kind of sucks.
But it's just, I don't know. Ours is like really high up behind our refrigerator.
Yeah. Mine is in my room, which is the worst thing you can do. I didn't know that when I had them install it in my room. It was supposed to be installed in my living room, kind of by my fireplace, but apparently in the wall there's some kind of firewall. I don't know if that's what you call it. Something they couldn't go through or do whatever they had to do with the wires. So I was like, oh, well, just put it in my room. I don't even know why that was what I told them to do, and I highly regret that now. But it's unplugged at night now anyway. So yeah, you don't want to put the router in your room. Is that what you call it, a router?
Modem?
I don't know if it's a modem or a router. So
one of those.
If it's a
you know what we're talking about.
Yeah. If it's a modem or a router, don't put it in your
either
room.
One.
And ideally away from where you're going to be at the most. See, if I could redo it, I'd probably do it. Well, I guess that kind of people need
maybe it's best because like it's in your room during the day and you're probably not in there.
Yeah, you're right. But then I'm thinking people are like, oh, well, I need to still get a good signal in my house. So just not in your room. Also, don't charge anything by your head. The further you are away from it, the better. Airplane mode. Let's see. Oh, Yeah, no headphones, no wireless headphones. I know that really sucks. That's a hard one, right? Like we all love our AirPods and our
Yeah.
wireless.
And it sucks. I'll be wearing these like a broke bitch at Whole Foods, and I'm thinking people are probably like, get with the times, lady. I feel like this own internal judgment for no reason. And it's annoying. It rips out of my ears
Oh
sometimes,
yeah.
and I'm offended.
Yeah, I know. I do that during the podcast all the time. I'm always yanking on it. But yeah, that one I could do away with a lot of the other devices, the watch, the smart home stuff, but the AirPods, oh, that's a difficult one. But those are the one of the worst. That's
Yeah.
right in your ears next to your brain. Those need to go in the garbage. Sell them. They're really bad. Um, Use the wired headphones instead. Also, if you're talking on the phone, if you can talk on speakerphone, do that, and put the phone down. Obviously, like you
Just
don't
not
want
in
it on your
public
body.
because that's annoying.
Yeah, just if you can, which I think most of the time, for me personally, most of the time I can do that because I usually always talk on speaker, and it's yeah, and I always
I
can
just
put the
always have
phone
my
down.
headphones, like wired ones.
Yeah, that's good too. Try not to keep your phone on your body though.
Oh man,
Um,
that's a hard one
yeah,
to
that is
not,
a hard
especially for
one.
guys, like in their pocket. Like
Yes.
girls, at least I guess mostly have them in a purse.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit further away. I know Mike, I told him recently, in his jeans, they're so old because he keeps clothes forever. He's been having them for like 15 years, legitimately. He still wears these jeans. And it has a mark on the pocket from his current iPhone and the size of the last one that was smaller, like two
Oh.
different indentations from his phone.
That's so funny. Yeah, that is
So
a hard one. It is. I guess just being mindful of if you don't absolutely have to have it on you, don't, you know.
yeah, and then I've been starting lately. So I unplug my Wi-Fi at night after I like finish messing with my thermostat and whatever, get all that stuff right. And then I'll turn it off. And then I have it on airplane mode, so nothing's happening. And then um in the morning I'll turn the Wi-Fi back on, and then I'll just keep my phone on airplane mode because I don't even need my phone to
Yeah.
have signal at that point because I still have Wi-Fi in my house. Until I leave my house, I can just keep it still on airplane mode
Yeah, that's good.
because I'm
Um
not
uh,
willing to turn the Wi-Fi off during the day because I'm trying to have
oh
like
yeah.
music or something, I need it.
But speaking of that, they do have a router or modem, whatever. I think it's a router that somebody developed, and I think it was in France. I do have the link if we can remember to actually link it.
Hmm.
Um, it's a router that turns off when you're on. It only comes on when you're using the Wi-Fi, and if you're
Yeah.
not using it, it just turns off itself. So that's
But
pretty
it would
cool.
constantly be on because of all the smart home
I know.
stuff.
I thought of that too because I was about really considering getting one, but we're
Then you'd have to
using it
spend more
all
time
day.
like
Yeah.
manually turning off all those random stuff.
Yeah, I'm using it all day during the day, so it would just be the same thing as me just unplugging it at night. But
Yeah.
I guess it's really good for people who have been mitigating EMFs for a while and have probably don't have as much EMFs going at all times.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's probably in the grand scheme of things, like I said, mentioned about the 5G versus the phone. Your phone is worse than your Wi-Fi router because it has more hertz in it than the Wi-Fi router does. It's just that we have so many Wi-Fi router stuff everywhere.
but
Um,
they're all bad though. I don't want
they're
to
all
like make
bad,
one
I
seem
know.
like it's okay and the other's not.
Well,
You
what I'm
know.
saying is it's probably better to just keep your phone on airplane mode and keep your Wi-Fi on than try to always worry about your Wi-Fi if that's too difficult to get rid of
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
I wouldn't say unplug it any other time than the nighttime, but it's just this router I'm talking about. It automatically does it itself. Like you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
It's just if you're not using it, it's not on. It's
Hmm.
not doing anything. But I also wanted to mention about the cell phones that they have these cases you can put on your phone that's supposed to help with the EMFs, but you have to be careful because I saw that there is one that somehow it makes the phone have to work even harder to get a signal, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, because it's like putting
So
more
yeah, so you want to do your
energy out.
due diligence on that if you're going to buy one, and make sure you're getting something that is working the right way, the way you're wanting it to. So I would do some heavy research into that before buying anything. But they do have them out there. People do use them. Um,
One thing I was looking at was EMF blocking paint. I heard
yeah,
that you can paint your room with that to try to block some EMFs and stuff like that. That's interesting. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, me either. I had just heard that today when I was listening to that podcast about how they built that community in Nicaragua. And they use paint and stuff like that and cement houses. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
where
about
that plays
like
in, but
conductivity too. Like some things, the energy passes through easier than others, you know. So
yeah.
building materials, some building materials might be better than others. Um, and so there's a good bit of things that you can do if you're really concerned and want to take it further than what we've mentioned.
Yeah. Um,
One thing is people that have workstations, computer monitors and stuff. Apparently, those are really bad
oh
to
wait,
have
what?
computer monitors in your bedroom.
Oh,
I guess they
okay.
emit a lot of EMFs, microwaves.
Yeah. I thought you were going into the direction because an ideal way to mitigate EMFs in your house is to just have everything wired in. If I built a new home, which that's my goal, right? I would have everything wired in. I wouldn't be using my laptop. Basically, to use the internet with my laptop, I'd have to go plug into the box. And if you built your home with that in mind, you can have all these wires ran. You could have workstations in designated rooms where you would use your computer, where you would play video games, where you're going to watch TV, where your TV is going to be. And you could have multiple places where you can be wired in, but
Hmm.
everything's through wires. There's no Wi Fi.
Yeah.
That is ultimately the most ideal situation. So if you don't mind having wires everywhere, maybe you can just wire in as much as possible, or just when you can be wired in, be wired in.
Yeah. But like your personal devices don't work like that. My laptop can't even be wired in.
Really?
Yeah. They're like making devices to where you can't like, connect the
You need
Wi
like
Fi
that phone
phone
cable
jack.
looking thing.
Yeah. The phone blue. Well, they're not always blue, but yeah, they look like a phone cord. You'd have to have the slot to plug that in, but most
Oh,
devices now don't have those
I wonder if
anymore.
they have adapters. I don't know how that would work.
I don't know. Maybe, probably.
I don't know. I'd have
Um,
to look into that. You would think that there would be, because you should be able to. For them to completely eliminate that is awful.
Welcome, Rachel. Welcome to our program about EMFs and how we're getting deceived by the telecommunications industry.
Like we should have that
I know they're
option.
making us totally reliant on it.
Yeah, that sucks. So yeah, buy a laptop that has one of those, or
Like a old
let's
school one.
yeah, let's
Or
see
like
if
a
they have an
regular
adapter.
computer.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I would do that. I would get a computer with that before, if I could, if in the ideal situation, before I would say, oh, I'm not going to do that. It's not worth it. It's definitely worth it. It's worth it to not have to deal with the health effects of all of this. Um, and other things you can do is grounding, like putting your bare feet or skin to the earth,
Hmm.
for grounding for mitigation by absorbing electrons through the earth, especially wet, moist earth.
Yeah. So whenever you ground, you get the most electrical energy from the earth by it being a moist or wet surface because of the conductivity of water. It helps the energy pass through you. And those electrons that you're absorbing by grounding with the earth is actually helping to connect with those free radicals that we talked about before, and stabilizing those inside of your body. And it sounds crazy because what are you talking about? Grounding? Like, come on, get a grip. It's like you go outside, you put your feet on the ground.
Yeah.
What is this? But it's everything is energy. You have to think about that. It's true. It follows the laws of energy and conservation and all those things.
Yeah, it goes back to the trying to grow a plant in a dark closet. It's not going to get, it needs water, it needs sunlight, it needs soil, it needs all of those things. And we're no different. We are a product of the earth, just like every other living thing. So we definitely need to be in contact with it. I instantly feel better when I ground. Every single time, it's like a reset. I feel better every time I'm outside barefoot. It's the best. I love grounding. I have cracks in my heels that
Oh,
I
I know,
cannot
man.
scrub the dirt out of them. I could scrub. It's just, they look dirty. My feet look dirty all the
Her
time. I have
feet are
dirt under my toenails.
disgusting.
But hey, it is
I'm
so
just
worth
joking.
it. No, I know.
You could get on, there's like a lot of people that are on, what is it, Foot Finder? There's probably like a genre of people that
Like
really
that.
like dirty feet like
I have
that.
considered trying to do some foot photos. I mean, I think I've got some pretty feet except for the cracked heels and the dirty toes.
You should do some grounding hippie lady foot
Hey, I
pictures
might
and
really
see
come
if
up.
you
Maybe
make
I could get
some
my land that
coin.
way.
There you go. That could be your outlet.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so, there's lots of different things you can do. And I think just the awareness of it is really huge, because I know a lot of people, myself included, have been brainwashed into thinking that things are safe just because that's the way we've been taught or what everybody has said that's high up, what the government has told us, and that we want to believe because we ultimately like these things.
yeah.
So we just have to be cognizant, not even just for EMS, but just everything. Whenever it feels like that, and all these people just say, don't worry about it. Why, don't even worry about it. It's so safe. It's been around forever. You have to question that stuff. Is it safe? You have to use your brain to decide if it's safe or not,
And think about
because
it.
people will lie to you when they're trying to get profit.
Yeah. And think about it though, this stuff has not been around forever. This is
Yep.
a brand new baby compared to how humans have lived in all of humanity. This is brand new. We
Yes.
absolutely, even electricity is brand new in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
This is all very new. Humans have not lived like this for all the thousands of years they've been here. Electricity has only been in the modern for in almost every person's home for about 100 years. That's nothing,
Yeah,
you
it
know?
really isn't. We don't know everything about it. We can't possibly know everything, but we don't
Yeah.
even really know that much about it because we
We don't,
focused on certain things like, does it work?
yeah.
Does it do what it's designed to do?
Yeah.
But the health consequences, that could be chronic. That could be 50 years down the line. We haven't even had it for 50 years.
We're just discovering a lot about the body and how the body really works. Things we didn't even know about that. There's
Mm-hmm.
so much we didn't know about the body and biology and all of it. We're learning all of that, and that's why we're starting to discover how these things are affecting us and how bad they are because it's finally coming to the surface. We're finally figuring it out.
Yeah.
So we definitely have to not we can't think that they just have it all figured out. Let's trust them. They know what they're doing. No.
Mm-hmm. You can't just
Yeah.
always assume, I hate to say this, that you're safe
Yeah.
because you have to always be watching your back. Everyone is trying to sell you something. Everybody. That's the way the world works.
Yeah.
And so whenever you're constantly being sold something, you have to be very weary about that item because you don't know what it is and what it has in it and whether the people are being truthful. If it's a knockoff of something else, there's just so many variables in our commerce these days.
Yeah.
And you just need to be careful
Yeah, we have always just trust our regulatory agencies, like the
that
WHO,
have
the
our best
EPA,
interest.
FDA, yeah, and they absolutely don't. They can be bought and paid for, or they have people in the industry working in for them.
Or
Um,
maybe they just honestly are
don't
even
know.
believing their own brainwashing
Could be, yeah,
because
definitely.
they're still doing it to their own families and they don't worry because they're just like, no, it's safe. It's safe.
Yeah, and then people start to define themselves with that reality, right? Like, that becomes who they are, and to separate themselves from that is like an attack on them,
Mm-hmm.
like so they just it's hard for a lot of people to accept that something isn't true or right because they identify themselves with it.
They're passionate about it.
Yeah, so it's really hard to detach.
Yeah,
So
it's like if you told me, oh, podcasts are so bad, like
yeah,
I would be like, no, no, because I would want to defend it because I
yeah,
like it and it's a passion of mine. So if you're naturally passionate, it's going to be hard to see the other side of that. It
especially
just
when it's
goes
something,
against,
yeah, something that you've been taught your whole life,
yeah,
since you were born. You were taught that this is okay, this is normal. People have a hard time detaching from that and accepting that, because
yeah.
it's what we were always told. So you got to try to work on yourself and your ability to think outside the box and what is the words I'm looking for? Just
Think for yourself, do research, and use your intuition
yeah,
to determine whether you think it's an issue or not. And don't just go with the status quo that people are saying it's one thing because it may not be, and is
yeah,
it worth it to just have blind trust in somebody, you know?
Right. And you might be able to get rid of a lot of issues you might be having. Once you start to learn this stuff, you can learn how to heal
Yeah.
and live a way better life.
I know, because if you're hypersensitive to EMFs, it's wrecking your life and you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people are really sensitive to that don't realize that that's it. And like you said, we're going down this rabbit hole. Is it this? Is it this? What's my problem? And
Yeah.
there's just so many things. And this is a really big one to consider.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, we had a great talk. We hope that that inspired you to look more into EMFs and try to figure out what you can do in your home to reduce your toxic load of energy. Just take in the good energy and the good vibes and leave all that EMF stuff behind. At least do what you can to reduce it. So we'll see you again next week. Please like, subscribe, and we thank you so much for being here. Bye.
Bye.